Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Annie and this is Unity Consciousness. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'd like to take a moment and welcome our new subscribers and thank those of you who are returning for this week's energy update. Let's jump right in. The star of the show this week, it is eclipse season. We have our second, which one of two. So our previous the new moon lunar eclipse was a couple of weeks ago. Well, this week on Friday, the 5th, 5-5, number 5 means change, so 5-5. On the 5th of May, we're going to have this very intense full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. So on Monday of this week, we have planet Pluto is stationing to go retrograde. Currently, it is in the sign of Aquarius. It will be retrograding back into the sign of Capricorn. We talk about that. I want to talk about retrograde. As we've discussed before, retrograde cycles intensify, especially when the planet is stationing to go retrograde or stationing to go direct. The planet's energy is intensified. So let's talk about Plutonian energy. Power dynamics, intensity, triggers, trigger points, secrets, things beneath the surface being excavated for the purpose of exposure and transformation. If you have felt that there is a pivot point, a major pivot point, or a major transformation about to occur, you're right. It's coming. And this Pluto's retrograde is also setting us up for energy that's coming over the course of the month, the review of a few things. But Pluto is also the modern day ruler of the sign of Scorpio. So it's going to rule this full moon lunar eclipse as well. As I mentioned, that lunar eclipse and the fact that Pluto is retrograde is setting us up for some other energy that's going to occur this month. On the 9th, we've got the most surprising or shocking day of the year. That's when Uranus and the Sun go conjunct in the sign of Taurus. Then on the 17th, we've got Jupiter in the sign of Aries is going to square Pluto. And then on the 20th, we've got this massive fixed grand cross energy that has to do with Mars, Pluto, Jupiter, and the nodal axis. Anybody who's got a 0-degree placement on a fixed sign or with a fixed sign, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, or Aquarius, you're going to feel the intensity of Pluto, of these points, of these configurations, and also at the time of this full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio on Friday. It's a big week, big month. Anyway, also on Monday, in addition to planet Pluto stationing to go retrograde, we have Mercury, which is retrograde in Taurus currently, is going to conjunct the Sun. Well, because Mercury is retrograde, we will be pivoting back to something that we have addressed or something from our past that we get sudden insight on that kind of helps us understand things a little bit better. So I do like that energy, even though Pluto is stationing retrograde and some of that intense, triggering situations could be present in your sphere. There will be clarity also that comes from Mercury retrograde conjuncting the Sun in the sign of Taurus. I have a feeling it's going to be all about stability because, again, it's in the sign of Taurus. Then on Thursday of this week, Venus does a couple of things. Thursday, and then the energy changes on Friday. So Thursday, Venus in the sign of Gemini is going to square Neptune, which is in Pisces. So Venus represents money and or relationships, and Neptune in Pisces is when it's squared is confusion, right? So you could be getting mixed signals relative or confusion related to relationships or money matters. Venus in Gemini is very curious mental energy, and when it's squared by Neptune in Pisces, you just don't quite have all the information. So best not to act, because that very next day we've got that full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. But as part of that, we've got a configuration with Venus. So Venus changes quickly to sextile Jupiter in Aries. And I really like this energy. So whatever arose the day before, you can now make sense of it. Your trust is restored through faith. And if you are an artist of any kind whatsoever, this is a really good day for art creation. Venus in Gemini, sextile Jupiter. And I have to say, if you find that the intensity of this full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio happening on Friday as well is just too much, create something. Step away and create, because it's great for artistic endeavors, that's for sure. But let's jump in. Let's talk about that full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. This is going to be the final eclipse on the nodal axis, the Scorpio-Taurus nodal axis in the sign of Scorpio. So we are wrapping up, and Scorpio is at the south node of the nodal axis right now. So we are wrapping up south node themes, things we need to let go of. And it could be something that had begun last October on the 25th when there was a new moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. But as I mentioned, this particular full moon is in the sign of Scorpio, which is south node right now. So you really do want to let go of what's not serving your greatest good. Just know letting go is the theme for this eclipse. It is ruled by Pluto. We've talked about that already. So you can expect intensity and triggers for the purpose of transformation. The sun, again, it's a whenever you're dealing with a full moon, you've got polarization, right? The sun is over here, the moon is over here. The sun in the sign of Taurus is conjunct Uranus. We know Uranus. It is a 4-degree orb. As I mentioned, the sun is going to conjunct Uranus specifically exact in a week, but we're within orb. So expect the unexpected related to Taurus themes or Taurus, wherever Taurus falls in your chart. Taurus themes in general has to do with finances and stability. It can do with the earth, earth matters. And with Uranus being conjunct the sun, even within 4 degrees of orb, you can be catapulted forward really, really, really quickly during the time of this full moon lunar eclipse. As I mentioned, it can also take up 3 months to 6 months for all the energy to unfold, but Uranus is involved here, so it could be sudden, fast changes. There's no doubt about that. Also, because Taurus has to do with earth themes, there could be, and Uranus is so unpredictable and unstable, it can provoke earthquakes. I did notice, I was on the Geological Society's web page this morning, and I noticed there's an uptick in earthquakes today. So we may see that over the course of the week or within the next 10 days to 2 weeks, and that'll start to wane shortly thereafter. But it may take, as I mentioned, it could take some time for some of this energy to unfold. That's the magic of an eclipse season. It's on steroids, so the intensity is strong, but it takes a little bit longer for that energy to play out. Not always, but it can. Now, Mercury retrograde is opposite the full moon. So Mercury is in Taurus, and Taurus is on the sun side of things. So it's asking us to, even though it is retrograde, to define our stability and focus on that, right? Budgets, toxicity related to finances could also be exposed during this full moon. Jupiter is, has an out of sign square with Pluto. Again, we talked about that. It's going to perfect on the 17th. But it's getting closer to the nodes. So it's creating and expanding the intensity of how power dynamics are thwarting your efforts or stifling your ability to move forward. You know, you want freedom, you want to know the truth, and because Eris and Jupiter are really close, and Eris is a Kuiper belt object that signifies the street fighter, we will fight if necessary for our freedom and for the truth. We will stand up and be heard. Now, I like Mars placement. Mars is in Cancer, and Mars is trine the moon, and it's sextile the sun. This is really good energy because Mars is also the ancient ruler of Scorpio, so there's some relativity to this overall energy. It's helping us to take action where it's necessary to integrate whatever change we need to make to appreciate the transformations at hand. Now, the moon in Scorpio is going to, that Scorpio themes are heightened, right? Scorpio shines the light on secrets, transformations, things below the surface. It exposes toxicity for the purpose of change. It's death and rebirth. That's Scorpio, right? So these are all themes of this very powerful, intense full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio on Friday. Then on Sunday, 1 week from today, we've got Venus is going to enter the sign of Cancer. Like this energy. It's very protective energy and very nurturing energy. Just be mindful if you find yourself getting overly protective or real clingy to something, you might want to kind of take a step back, because Venus in the sign of Cancer can really send your emotions on a bit of a tirade. You might have a little bit of a roller coaster emotional effect. Just even it out where you need to. If you find yourself being overly sensitive, just step away, disconnect from whatever it is that's making you sensitive or that's triggering an emotional response for you. So in a nutshell, all week, step away if the intensity gets to be too much. I really do like the Venus in Gemini and the sextile to Jupiter in Aries. I really do like it. It's very good creative energy, allowing us to create as equally as we can break down things. And also, I like Mars energy. It's going to give us everything that we need, all of the energy that we need to take action in a good way to really root and anchor in the transformations that are necessary. It really will. I like that Mars energy. But let's be mindful of what we're taking action on. It will be easy for us to take action. Just really sit with something. If you're compelled to take action on something, if it's integrating changes that will allow you to move forward, great action to take. If it is an action that could do harm to yourself or others, not a good action to take, okay? The best action during heavy Pluto cycles is acceptance. Please remember that. Trust and integration also. If you can accept the changes that are occurring, especially if they occur rapidly, and trust in the integration of that change and that transformation that it brings, a new day will dawn and that new earth will begin to shine. There's no doubt about that. So that's what I've got for you this week relative to the energy. Like I said, intensity and triggering is part of the game. I feel that. So root yourself in the arts if you need to kind of balance things out a little bit. I did use the Rider-Waite tarot deck today. I don't know why, but sometimes I just forget that I have that deck on hand. And I did not pull the cover of it because it's basically falling apart, but it is just a basic Rider-Waite tarot deck. And because I didn't want to just go to some random description on the internet of what this card means, as I looked at this card, I really felt like the channeling that I received from my guides relative to the new moon solar eclipse, or this solar eclipse cycle, should I say, I think it suits very well. But the card that jumped right out at me was the moon. Of course it was, because we've got a very powerful full moon lunar eclipse, which this one is as well, in Scorpio. Let's break this down a little bit. So you've got the dog and also a wolf. So this speaks about our animal intensity, or the wild side of us. And you'll see that there's a crayfish, a crawdad, whichever you want to call it, climbing out of the water. So that speaks about things that are under the surface coming to light. You have two towers in the background, and they are not towers that are falling apart. They're very firm towers. However, there is a path that goes between, runs up from the water over the hill, and it looks like into a watery effect that's between the towers into the unknown. So it's almost like trust the unknown, trust where we're being led, and expect things to pop up out of the surface. But I also want to read the channeled message that I got. So let me put it back up there and read the channeled message. Transformations that are necessary are easily embodied now because we know self-mastery awaits us. We can face our fears, overcome our emotional triggers or trigger points to break down obstacles and ensure long-term success. That's all I have for you this week. If you liked this video, please do click the like button. If you want to know when videos are dropping, click the subscribe button. And if you have a comment, please do post it in the comment section below. There is one thing I forgot. We didn't talk about Pluto retrograding back into the sign of Capricorn. It is quite possible over the course of the next 6 months that you could see some further disintegration of 3D elements relative to Capricornian themes. So that's going to be capitalism. That's going to be financial markets, banking systems, government systems, school, anything where there's top-down authority. It's no longer supported, and it's Pluto's job now is to take that wrecking ball and completely devastate, bust up, and clear those elements so that we can fully embody the age of Aquarius and power to the people. So as Pluto pivots and starts to retrograde back, some of those themes are going to pop back up. Just know that it's coming. Okay? Well, thank you so much. Like I said, I hope you have a fabulous week. I will be here with you. And if you have any comments, like I said, post them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you ASAP. Thank you so much. Namaste.